Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our virtual open enrollment fair session. At this time, we will go over ASIFlex spending account benefits for plan year 2024. Before we get started, I would like to brief everyone on a couple of housekeeping items. All attendees are muted and will remain muted throughout the presentation. If you have a question, please type it in the chat box located on the right-hand side of the presentation screen. Be informed that if you type a question in the chat box, everyone attending the session will see your question and your name. So if you have a question that is sensitive or confidential, we recommend that you reach out to the County Benefits Division or your department's benefit ambassador. Lastly, today's webinar is being recorded and a copy will be posted on the Benefits Open Enrollment website. At this time, I will turn it over to our presenter, Andy Megling.
Yes, hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to share my screen and do a presentation with you on the flexible spending accounts and health reimbursement accounts. I hope everyone can see that. First, we're going to talk about HRAs. HRAs are health reimbursement arrangements, and they're very similar to the flexible spending accounts that we're going to talk about. At least the way that the County of San Diego has theirs set up. They're year-to-year accounts, and the year is the calendar year, January 1st through December 31st. For the HRA, the county contributes to the plan any excess flex credits if you're not enrolled in a high deductible health plan or an individual plan. And you can have up to $5,000 per calendar year, and you use it to pay for the current year's expected expenses. If you don't use the funds, by the end of the year, they are forfeited back to the county. The HRA pays after the healthcare FSA. So if you sign up for both, just know that your healthcare FSA will be used first, and then the HRA will pay for the same expenses. And $610 is the carryover provision for 2024. So that is a combined amount with the healthcare FSA. Now we'll look at flexible spending accounts, which are also year-to-year accounts, same year, January 1st through December 31st. And you can set aside an amount that you choose, a pre-tax. All of the money is deducted from your paycheck pre-tax, so you don't pay any taxes on it. You also use it to pay for current year's expected expenses. And you can enroll in any health insurance plan and have the FSA. However, we're going to talk about the limited purpose health FSA in just a minute. There are three different types of accounts with the FSA. The general purpose healthcare FSA would be if you're not enrolled in a high deductible health plan, and you can use it for deductibles, co-pays, office visits, medical, dental, vision, and much, much more. The limited purpose healthcare FSA is an HSA compatible FSA. You can be enrolled in the limited purpose FSA even if you're in an HSA. But if you are, then you use it just for dental and vision expenses only. And the main reason to do this is because you can use your limited purpose FSA to pay for these expenses and allow you to save more in your HSA. And then there's also the dependent care FSA, and this is not for your dependents' medical expenses. This is actually for daycare or before and after school care, preschool, nursery school, to allow you to work. The healthcare FSA pays first, as mentioned, and the HRA pays last. And then the carryover provision of it's going up to $610 in 2024 is a combined amount with the healthcare FSA and the HRA. But there is no carryover for the dependent care FSA. We're going to talk about how it works. It's easy. You're getting ready to have open enrollment. You're going to sign up after you've estimated your expenses that you expect to incur during the upcoming year. Think about the expenses you're going to have from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. And then you can make your pre-tax contributions distributed evenly over your paychecks throughout the year. Then you'll incur eligible expenses during the plan year and submit a claim, and then you get reimbursed. You can be reimbursed by direct deposit, so it's very quick and easy, or you can request to be reimbursed by check. There are some IRS guidelines for flexible spending accounts that you need to keep in mind. You must enroll every year with a new election. Even if you've been enrolled in an FSA and you want to continue at the same amount, you still need to make a new election each year. You must spend all of your funds during the year, and expenses must be incurred during your period of coverage or during the plan year. Incurred means that the service or the item that was purchased happened during that year and not necessarily that you paid for it. You do not have to be covered under your employer's health insurance or any particular insurance plan. Your spouse and dependent children are automatically covered under your FSA. You don't need to sign them up separately. You can use the FSA dollars to pay for their expenses the same as yours. Your FSA election will remain in effect for the full plan year unless you experience a qualifying status change event. With the healthcare FSA and the limited purpose FSA, you can access those funds, the full amount of those funds at any time during the year. And funds remaining at the end of the year are forfeited. But there is a carryover of up to $610 in 2024 for the healthcare FSA and the limited purpose FSA, but combined with the HRA. No carryover for the dependent care FSA. So you just want to plan what you know you can use during 2024. It's really easy to avoid forfeitures if you just do a little bit of planning. You want to look at your predictable expenses, or recurring expenses, things you know you are going to have during the upcoming year. Maybe not guessing or wondering if you'll have a service, but just accounting for those that you know you will have. Maybe reviewing your prior year's expenses as a guide would be a good way to look at the upcoming expenses for next year and be conservative in your planning. You can also use our online tools at www.asiflex.com, such as an expense estimator, eligible expense listing. FSAstore.com is a wonderful resource where you can go to FSA Store and check anything on the website is FSA eligible, and you don't even have to buy it at FSA Store, but it's a nice way to check if something is eligible. And remember, you can carry over up to $610 of healthcare funds, so there's no risk for putting in at least that amount. Now we'll look a little more in depth at eligible healthcare expenses. The general purpose healthcare FSA covers all types of items and services shown here, and your election needs to be a minimum of $120 for the year, up to a maximum of $3,050 for the year, for the 2024 year. And prescription drugs, office visit copays, deductibles, x-rays, lab work, hospital bills, even mileage to and from your healthcare providers is eligible. Over-the-counter medicines and products such as Band-Aids, sunscreens, braces, like wrist and knee braces, first aid supplies, pill holders, blood pressure monitors, thermometers, diabetic supplies, menstrual care supplies, drugs and medications of all kinds are eligible. Vision expenses like eye exams, eyeglasses, prescription sunglasses, contact lenses and solutions, reading glasses, and LASIK surgery are all eligible. Dental services like x-rays, fillings, orthodontia, crowns, bridges, dentures and adhesives, occlusal guards and implants are even eligible. And hearing expenses like hearing exams, hearing aids, and the batteries for maintaining them. With the limited purpose healthcare FSA, as mentioned, it is able to cover vision and dental expenses so that you can not have to spend your HSA dollars on those things. The minimum and the maximum are the same as the general purpose healthcare FSA, a minimum of $120 election for the year and a maximum of $3,050. This account is compatible with an HSA. The same types of vision expenses and the same dental expenses are all eligible as with the general healthcare FSA. This Next is a little more detailed listing of the types of over-the-counter products and medications that are eligible. You can see an alphabetical listing here, but a much more detailed listing of eligible items can be found at our website, ASIFlex.com. Some of the items here of note would be sunscreen, all types of products with a SPF of 15 or higher are also eligible, such as lip balm. Even some makeup and moisturizers are eligible too if they have the sunscreen. Your healthcare funds are available at any time. As mentioned, the beginning of the year, you have the full amount available to you. The plan pays up to the plan year election amount minus the paid claims. And here's an example of how that works. If you sign up to contribute $100 per month, you'll have $1,200 as your election for the year. Let's say on March 15th, you incur a $500 expense, but your year-to-date contributions as of March 15th are only $300. The plan is still going to reimburse you the $500 because you have $1,200 available for the whole year. Now we'll take a look at in more detail at dependent care expenses. The dependent care election can be anywhere from $120 for the year up to $5,000 for the year. The $5,000 is the maximum per household, but it is $2,500 if married and filing separate income tax returns. For the dependent care FSA, any expenses incurred for your children under the age of 13 for care of your children while you're working are eligible. Even babysitting, if you hire a babysitter. If you send them to a preschool or a nursery school for children who are not yet school-aged. Before and after school care is eligible for children who are school-aged. Day camps, such as you might have during the summer or when school is not in session, are eligible. In general, for children under the age of 13. However, if you have a child or another dependent, such as a parent who is over the age of 13 but incapable of self-care due to mental or physical handicap, then those expenses would also qualify. With the dependent care FSA, the plan pays up to the amount you've contributed. Here's an example. If you contribute $300 per month for your dependent care FSA, you have an election for the year of $3,600. Let's say on January 31st, you incur a $500 expense, but as of January 31st, you've only contributed 1 month's worth of $300. The plan will reimburse you that $300, and the $200 that was the additional amount that you claimed would be reimbursed to you immediately after your next contribution is made. So after your next paycheck, and that amount is withheld. There are many ways to file your claims and get your money back. And there is the mobile app, which is, I think, listed first because it is the most convenient and easy to use. You have it on your phone. You can just snap a picture of your documentation with your phone and upload it right through the app. Very quick and easy. You can also send a claim online. You can either scan an image of your documentation, or some providers may even provide you with a digital receipt. Many are doing that these days, and so you can just send that with your claim form through your online portal. There's also the FSA Store cardless pay option. When you sign into ASIFlex, your online account participant portal, you can click to shop the FSA Store. And when you're logged in, you won't even need to enter your debit or credit card information. ASIFlex will pay the FSA Store directly from your account. And you can also get a claim form on our website, asiflex.com, and either fax or mail that in along with your documentation. A little more about the ASIFlex mobile app. It is a free app. There's a video tutorial of the app on asiflex.com. You can use it on a smartphone or tablet. Just take a picture of your documentation, submit it right from the pharmacy or doctor's office. I've done that before. It is really fast. And check your balance 24/7. If you choose to send a claim online, you'll be able to log in through our website, ASIFlex.com, and you'll assign your own username and password when you sign up for your account the first time, and you can submit your claim securely through your online account, as well as many other features that we'll look at in just a minute. With the FSA Store Cardless Pay, you can pay for your over-the-counter purchases at FSA Store directly from your healthcare FSA account. It's really easy. First, you sign into your ASIFlex account, click on the FSA Store link. You can see here in the upper right corner. Select your products and proceed to checkout. You choose the ASIFlex payment option, and that's it. If you have the funds available in your account, then ASIFlex will pay FSA Store from your account and your products are shipped to you. The type of documentation that you might need when submitting a claim is shown here. Your documentation needs to include, in general, these 5 things. Who, for whom the service or supply is provided, so the patient's name. What, a description of the service or supply. Where, that would be the name and address of the provider of the service or the supplier. When, the date the service was provided. Don't need a date of payment or a date that it was billed, but the date of service is what the IRS is looking for. And the dollar amount, how much you owe for that service or product. So if you have an expense that is covered by medical, dental, or vision insurance, the document that you can provide perhaps most easily is an explanation of benefits, an EOB. And you can usually get this right from your insurance portal online, so you've already got a digital copy of it, or you can provide an itemized statement from the provider. If something is not covered by insurance, you can just use the itemized statement from your provider since you won't have an EOB. For prescriptions, you can use the pharmacy receipt, a printout from the pharmacy, or even an itemized mail order receipt from a mail order pharmacy. For over-the-counter products, the itemized merchant receipt, also known as a cash register receipt, works great. But please note, do not submit credit card receipts, paid on account or balance forward statements, canceled checks, or pre-treatment estimates, as these types of documents don't have all of those 5 types of information that are needed on them. For the dependent care FSA, the type of documentation that's needed for your claim also must include those 5 things. Who, for whom the care is provided. What, a description of the service, so just general child care, preschool, after school care, something to that effect, very general. Where, name and address of the provider providing the service. When, that would be the dates of care. And the dollar amount, how much the care was for that period of time. And you should submit an itemized statement of the services, or you can have your daycare provider just sign the claim form that is provided on ASIFlex.com, and that way they can certify that they've provided the services without needing to provide you some additional receipt or document. We always encourage participants to go green. Get your information and get it quicker and more securely by signing up for email and text alerts, which avoids paper and delayed mail. You can sign up for reimbursements made directly to your bank account, so you can avoid paper checks and delayed mail and taking the check to the bank. And also submit your claims through the mobile app or online. It does result in faster payments, and it's easier than filling out a paper form, in my opinion. As mentioned, there are lots of resources at ASIFlex.com. From the main website, you can view the extensive eligible and ineligible expense listing. You can access the FSA store to look up any type of eligible FSA product. You can read answers to frequently asked questions. You can use the expense estimator and the tax savings calculator. You can view educational videos and access IRS forms and publications. And when logged in at ASIFlex.com, you can access your individual FSA account detail. You can review messages sent to you. You can manage your personal settings. You can submit claims, and you can shop the FSA store using the cardless pay. There are some important dates to remember. The plan year runs from January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. So that's the period of time for which you are planning your known expenses. Open enrollment takes place soon, October 2nd, 2023 through October 26, 2023. So that's the period during which you need to sign up if you wish to enroll for 2024. The deadline to submit 2024 claims is March 31st of 2025, but we encourage you not to wait until the last minute as you may miss the deadline. ASIFlex has a wonderful customer service team. We have live representatives that answer the phone without you needing to jump through a phone tree or any menus. When you call, we answer. So you can give us a call at the number shown here. Our hours are listed in Central Time. For Pacific Time, this would be 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday. You can also email us at asi@asiflex.com, or you can live chat with a representative by signing into your online account. We thank you so much for listening today. Now we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm going to go to the chat and see if there are some questions there that we should answer.
Andy, I see a question in the chat. Can you get reimbursed for over-the-counter items from your HRA?
Yes, actually you can. Your HRA expenses mimic the FSA. So every expense that we just talked about being eligible for the FSA are also eligible for your HRA, but the FSA is going to pay first if you're enrolled in both of them. Yes, over-the-counter items are eligible.
Okay, thank you. Another question, what is the maximum amount to contribute monthly towards Flex? I'm thinking maybe towards an HRA or an FSA. I'm not sure what this question is.
Sure, the maximum amount for the year, and so we would just divide it by 12 to get the monthly amount, but the maximums are listed by year. And for an HRA, it's $5,000. For the healthcare FSA, it's $3,050, and for the dependent care FSA, it is $5,000. I hope that helps.
Yes, very helpful. Another great question just came through the chat. We have quite a few actually.
Oh,
what
good.
do you need to claim mileage?
Oh, that's a very good question. It's actually so frequently asked that it's one of our frequently asked questions on our website. It's so simple to claim mileage. You don't need any documentation. When you submit your claim, you just list the number of miles and the dates that you traveled to your medical providers. The calculation is done for you. It's 22 cents per mile is the current medical mileage reimbursement rate. So you just claim that amount, and no documentation is needed for that.
Great. Thank you, Andy. Let's see. And I see a question came through about how much can roll over this year. What about anything left over? What happens to those funds?
Good question. Yeah, for 2023, the carryover limit is 570. So that is a combination of HRA and FSA. Up to 570 will carry over. And then next year in 2024, the amount goes up to $610.
Nice jump. It's very generous. Oh, okay, great. Another question. Are after-school enrichment classes reimbursable?
Yes, if the main purpose of any type of enrichment class is childcare to allow the parents to work, then it is an eligible expense. And that's self-certified. But as long as the class is taking place during your work time, that would be considered eligible. So something that happens on a Saturday or a holiday or something like that may be questioned, but if the care is provided to allow you to work, it would be eligible.
Great, thank you for that information. Another question, how can we receive a card that we can use to buy FSA or HRA eligible items online?
With the county's plan, you won't receive a card. It is necessary to submit your request for reimbursement in the form of a claim, or you can use the cardless pay if you go to FSA store and shop that way. Then you don't even need a card.
Righty. This question pertains to dependent care. Could you go over that area one more time and how contributions are done and paid out to a provider?
Oh, yes, of course. To paid out to the provider. So the way that we talked about it during the presentation was a reimbursement to you, the employee. There is a way to set up a recurring direct pay to your provider, but it's only if your provider participates. So generally, you would make an election based on the amount that you're expecting to pay for dependent care. And a lot of people complain that they spend way more than $5,000 in dependent care during the year. And of course, that's true, but $5,000 is the maximum set by the IRS. So you want to do that amount if you have that much. And then it gets divided evenly over the year. So that comes out to about $416.66 a month that you could be reimbursed. So even if your daycare costs more than that, go ahead and submit the cost that you have, and you get reimbursed the $416 each month until you've been reimbursed throughout the whole year as it comes out of your paycheck. Because the dependent care FSA only reimburses you the amount you've contributed. You can file your claims up to the $5,000 at any time. If you spent $5,000 on daycare within January and February, you'd only have to file 2 claims for those months, and then you would continue to get reimbursed throughout the year as it's withheld from your paycheck.
Okay, excellent. Another question regarding dependent care. Are dependent care meals, can they be billed and included as a reimbursable expense?
No, they actually cannot. Meals, if they are separate, if they're listed separately on or billed separately on the provider's receipt or document, then they would not be eligible for reimbursement. And most daycare providers that we see lump them together as just a total charge for care. So if they're not separated out and they're included as part of the overall cost of care, then they would be eligible. But any specifically itemized meals would not be eligible.
Great.
Or maybe a special trip or restaurant meal or something like that would not be eligible.
Perfect. What documentation do you need for a child over the age of 13 who still is needing child care to claim dependent care?
We generally just ask for the parent to self-certify this because they are signing off on the claim form stating that the dependent is under the age of 13 or incapable of self-care. So in this case, we don't require a doctor's letter to verify that. It may be questioned if if you put an age of 17 or something like that, and we don't have that information. But if you would just put a note in with your claim, letting us know that your child, just use autism, for example, your child is autistic and therefore needs care, even though they're 17 years old, that would be perfectly fine. You don't need to get a doctor's letter. Just let us know that that's the reason.
Great, thank you, Andy. Can you please explain the carryover for $610 and what that can be used for?
Yeah, it's a great question. The carryover it can be used for the same expenses the following year or any number of following years. There's no limit to how many years the carryover will rollover as long as you're still an employee with the county. So you would use it for the same expenses. The benefit of the carryover is that it's money that you're not going to forfeit at the end of the year. Unlike if you put in $2,000, let's say, and you only spent $1,000, then you would forfeit that other $1,000 if there was no carryover. But because there's a $610 carryover, you get to take that $610 and still have it available for you to use in the following year. In this case, 2025, you could still use those funds.
Okay. Another add-on question from another employee regarding the carryover, going over numbers. So if I carry over $570 for 2023 into 2024, and then I max at 3,050, is that 570 in addition to the 3050?
You actually don't add the 570 in your election, but yes, you would have, what does that add up to be? You would have 3,620 available to you in 2024 or 2020. Yes, your example was if you carried over it from 2023. So yes, you would have $3,620 available to be used in 2024 because 570 comes from 2023 as an allowed carryover.
Great, thank you. Let's see, another question here. The amount we contribute to ASIFlex per paycheck, is it pre-taxed?
Yes, every bit of it is pre-tax. So the more you contribute, the more tax savings you have. It also depends on your tax bracket, but most people will save around at least 30%. And there is a tax savings calculator on our website if you're interested in plugging in your numbers to find out how much you will save.
Excellent. Another question. This is pertaining to private school. If a private school offers after-school dance club or language class, would the cost be valid as dependent care expense?
Yes, again, if the after-school care is being provided mainly to allow the parents to work, then that even though it's an educational type expense, language class, dance club, those services would be eligible as dependent care expenses because the main reason for having those things happening after school is because the parents are still at work.
Okay. Looks like those are our questions for now. Keep them coming. These were all great questions, everyone.
Yes, they are great questions.
Here's another. What if my babysitter doesn't want to give me her address in the receipt? Can I still submit the claim?
If your babysitter doesn't put her address on the receipt, you can just fill it in on the claim form, and that will likely be sufficient. I have seen many receipts. Oh, sorry, I thought I heard somebody interject. Yes, many receipts
Sorry,
that
it's
were
background
accepted.
noise.
Oh, background noise. Yes, that is odd question. I kind of think if you are taking your child to the babysitter, they would be already providing their address to you, but it is a requirement to have the address. So you can fill it in on the claim form, even if it's not on their receipt. I hope that answers the question.
I believe so. And sorry, I muted myself. There was some
Oh,
background discussions. I see you picked up on it.
sure.
My apologies for that.
No problem. It's virtual meetings for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions? That looked like the last one on my list.
I think that's it for now. Let me just scroll up to make sure I didn't miss anything.
I'm checking as well.
I believe I do see a question that came in earlier, and it's regarding the maximum amounts and if a person can contribute more monthly. So the specific question is, so the max monthly is the amount divided by 12 of the yearly max. Can I contribute more monthly? So for this employee, I'd be happy to answer this. You can contribute the max in a calendar year. And we have 26 payrolls in a year, but we only take deductions out of 24. So if you were to divide your maximum election by 24, that would give you per paycheck amount. And also, when you're re-electing your elections and self-service during open enrollment, there is a calculator in there, so you can kind of get an idea of what each month would be or each paycheck deduction would be. And for the flexible spending account, you're able to submit your claims to maximize your annual deductible or annual deduction. But for your dependent care, you cannot. As Andy mentioned, it's only based on what's available in your account at the time when you submit your claim.
That's correct. I see there was some clarification on the question of the babysitter providing the address. If the care is provided at your home, then it isn't necessary to have the babysitter's address on the receipt, because the care is not being provided at that location. The care is being provided at your home. So you can use that as the location for your babysitter.
Excellent.
So yeah, thanks for clarifying.
Wait, I
And
see
there
a
is,
question. Okay, you're answering that one
yeah,
about the eligible list. I'm actually going to paste the link in the chat so participants can
great.
access that list. So I'll do that right now.
Yes, there's a very extensive list on our website, ASIFlex.com. All you have to do is click on resources and you'll see it. And yeah, Nidra said she's going to have the link for you, so that's great. Okay. I'll let Nidra or one of the other reps, the recordings of these virtual fairs. I'm not positive where those will be located. I would assume on the Human Resource website.
Yes, you are correct. The recording will be available early next week on the benefits website.
Okay, super.
And I did just paste in the chat the link to the list of eligible expenses for the healthcare FSA, as well as I'm sure for the HRAs as well. They operate one and the same.
They all are, yeah, same expenses. That's right. Okay, this question says, for healthcare FSA reimbursement, please confirm a provider bill or EOB is sufficient and a proof of payment, check, credit card receipt is not necessary. That is true. We don't need to see proof of payment with anything except orthodontia. Orthodontia is a little bit of a different sort of thing because the nature of the ongoing service. But with any other service, proof of payment is not needed. So an EOB works great. That is complete documentation by itself. Or a bill from the provider, as long as it's a bill that is itemized, it doesn't just say previous balance due or something like that. It would just need to indicate the date of service, what was provided, at least a general description of the service, surgery or lab work, that sort of thing. Yep. No check or credit card receipts necessary. This question says, if there was an FSA carryover amount from last year, but no FSA for this year, are claims still eligible? Yes, you do not have to enroll for the upcoming year. Your carryover will still be available to you without re-enrollment.
There's a question there that says, did you say the entire election amount is available at the beginning of the year? If so, okay, go ahead.
Yes, yeah, thank you. If so, the employee leaves county service mid-year and has already used all available funds, would this be money paid back to ASR, the county? That is always a good question to ask. No, you do not ever pay back any funds that you've been reimbursed over the amount that you've contributed, even if you leave employment with the county. So with the healthcare FSA and the HRA, it is possible to be reimbursed the entire amount at the beginning of the year. Yes.
Did we answer the question if there was an FSA carryover amount from last year, but no FSA from this year? Are claims still eligible?
Yes, I replied to that one.
Okay.
Certainly. Yeah, carryover is still in effect, even if you did not re-enroll for the upcoming year.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. For orthodontics and payments made each month, how does that work? Do I have to submit a copy of the contract each time I send a credit card statement? Or is one time sufficient for the contract and then just the monthly credit card bill?
Good question. Orthodontia, as I mentioned a moment ago, is a little bit different. So you can just submit the contract one time, and then what that contract's going to tell us is that there's an expected length of treatment and a total cost of treatment. So from that, we can figure what the reasonable monthly cost is. Let's say the total cost of treatment is $2,400. And to make it easy with the math, the expected length of treatment is 24 months. So you'll be looking to pay about $100 to your orthodontist each month. So you just submit the contract one time. From that, we'll figure what a reasonable monthly payment is. If it's not already stated on the contract, it may already be on there if it's a payment contract. And then you just send the proof of your payment. So the credit card statement, credit card receipt, canceled check, whatever proof of payment you have, each month would be sufficient because we will have recorded that contract, noted it to your file, so you don't need to send it in each time.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
Are there any other questions that we missed or came through? If you could please put it in the chat and make sure we didn't miss anything. I don't see any other questions, Andy, but do you mind if we go ahead, for those who came in late or missed part of the presentation, if we go ahead and start again?
That is just fine. I will be happy to
Thank
pull it
you.
back up here. Yes, of course. Let me start it from the beginning. Okay. This presentation is regarding flexible spending accounts and health reimbursement accounts for the year 2024, County of San Diego. We're going to talk first about HRAs. Their health reimbursement arrangement is what HRA stands for. And these are year-to-year accounts from January 1st through December 31st each year. The county contributes the funds to this HRA with any excess flex credits if you are not enrolled in an HDHP, a high deductible health plan, or individual plan. You can have up to $5,000 per calendar year, and you can use these funds to pay for your current year expected expenses. If you don't use the funds by the end of the year, you do forfeit those funds back to the county. If you're enrolled in both the HRA and the FSA, the HRA pays after the healthcare FSA. And there's a $610 carryover provision in 2024 for your healthcare FSA combined with HRA. Now, flexible spending accounts, very similar to the HRA, they're also year-to-year accounts you sign up for during open enrollment, and the plan year goes from January 1st through December 31st. You elect to set aside a certain amount of pre-tax dollars for the healthcare FSA, and you can use those pre-tax dollars to pay for your current year expected expenses. You may be enrolled in any health insurance plan. There are three types of flexible spending accounts we're going to look at. The general purpose healthcare FSA, which includes all types of expenses like deductibles, co-pays, office visits, medical, dental, and vision expenses. Then there's the limited purpose healthcare FSA, which is an HSA compatible FSA. You can still be in this FSA if you're enrolled in the high deductible health plan with an HSA, but it only covers dental and vision expenses. The dependent care FSA is not for your dependents' medical expenses. It is for your daycare expenses provided for your children to allow you to work. The healthcare FSA always pays first if you have both an FSA and an HRA. The HRA will pay last. There is a $610 carryover provision, which is for the healthcare FSA combined with HRA, and this is for the plan year 2024. But there is no carryover for the dependent care FSA. So just plan what you know you're going to use during 2024. We'll talk about how it works and how it saves you some money. It's easy. During open enrollment, you'll want to estimate the expenses that you expect to incur during the upcoming year. Look at the types of expenses that you've had during this year, and then you will make an election based on that estimate, and your contributions will come out pre-tax from each of your paychecks. You will incur eligible expenses all throughout the plan year, and then you'll submit a claim, and then you'll get reimbursed to your bank account or via check. There are some things that you need to be aware of because FSAs are mandated and regulated by the IRS. Every year, you must enroll with a new election. That means that even though you've been enrolled previously in an FSA and may not want to change the amount that you're enrolled for, you will still need to make a new election each open enrollment. You must spend all of your funds during the year. Expenses must be incurred during your period of coverage or during the plan year. You do not have to be covered under your employer's health insurance to be in an FSA. You can use it to pay for your own expenses and your spouse and dependent children expenses as well. Their expenses are automatically covered under the FSA. The election remains in effect for the entire plan year, so plan carefully. Unless you do experience a qualifying status change event, such types of events as marriage, birth of a child, divorce, etc. You can access all of your healthcare funds at any time during the year. The funds remaining at the end of the year are forfeited back to the county. You may carry over up to $610 of healthcare funds, healthcare FSA combined with HRA, but there's no carryover for dependent care FSA. It's easy to avoid forfeitures if you do a little planning. Just plan for predictable and recurring expenses or expenses you know you will have during the upcoming year. Reviewing your prior year's expenses as a guide may be helpful, and be conservative in your estimating. May not, even though it seems like everything is going up in cost, that may not be true in the medical realm. So it would be good to not assume that costs are going to go up. You can also use our online tools at ASIFlex.com to help you plan your election. The expense estimator. We also have an eligible expense listing. The FSAstore.com is linked from our website, and it is a wonderful resource for checking if over-the-counter products are eligible because everything on FSA Store is eligible for FSA and HRA. And remember, you can carry over up to $610 of healthcare funds. So that's a safe amount to enroll for. No risk of forfeiting that amount. Now we'll look a little more in depth at eligible healthcare expenses. For the general purpose healthcare FSA, you can contribute a minimum amount of $120 per year and a maximum amount of $3,050 for the year. There are so many different types of eligible expenses that you can use your funds flexibly for, such as prescriptions, office visit, co-pays, deductibles, x-rays, lab work, hospital bills, and mileage to and from your healthcare providers. There are many over-the-counter products and medications that are eligible, such as Band-Aids, sunscreen, wrist and knee braces, first aid supplies, pill holders, blood pressure monitors, thermometers, diabetic supplies, menstrual care, drugs and medications. Vision expenses such as eyeglasses, prescription sunglasses, contact lenses and solutions, reading glasses, and LASIK eye surgery is even eligible. For dental exams are eligible, x-rays, fillings, orthodontia, crowns, bridges, dentures and adhesives, occlusal guards and implants are eligible. And for hearing exams, hearing aids, and even the batteries for them are eligible. For the limited purpose healthcare FSA, this is the type of FSA that's compatible with an HSA. The same limits are in effect, $120 minimum for the year and $3,050 maximum for the year. But with the limited purpose healthcare FSA, you would only be able to claim vision and dental expenses, the same types of vision and dental expenses that are eligible with the general purpose healthcare FSA. And the main reason to do this would be to allow you to be reimbursed for these types of expenses from your limited purpose FSA and save more money in your HSA. This is a list of over-the-counter healthcare products. No prescription is required for any of these types of things, and thousands more products are eligible. As mentioned, you can check fsastore.com for any type of eligible over-the-counter expense. More and more items are becoming eligible all the time. Some things that often surprise people that are eligible are menstrual care products, including period underwear, and anything with SPF 15 in it or higher. So sunscreens, of course, but lip balm, makeup, moisturizers that have sunscreen are also eligible. Healthcare funds are available at the beginning of the year, the full amount that you elect for the year. For example, if you contribute $100 per month, you'll have a $1,200 plan year election. You obviously won't have contributed that much, but if you incur an expense on March 15th, that's say $500, you might have contributed $300, but you'll still be paid, you'll still be reimbursed the full $500. Now we'll look at some dependent care expenses that are eligible. Again, remember this is for child care that is provided to allow you and your spouse, if you're married, to work. The dependent care limits are a minimum of $120 for the year and a maximum of $5,000 for the year. And this is a household maximum. So if you and your spouse are both contributing to a dependent care FSA, you cannot go above $5,000. And if you are married and filing separate income tax returns, you're limited to $2,500 each. The dependent care FSA is intended to reimburse you for care of your children while you're at work. This would include babysitting, whether that's at somebody else's house or a babysitter that comes to your home, preschool or nursery school for children who are not yet in school, not yet school aged, or before and after school care for children who are school aged. It will also be eligible for day camps, such as you might have during the summer or when school's not in session. And as mentioned, the care is usually for children under the age of 13. However, if you have extenuating circumstances where a dependent over the age of 13 is not capable of self-care, then their care may be eligible as well. Or if you have an adult dependent, such as an older parent who lives with you and you get daycare for them while you're at work, then their care may be eligible too. With the dependent care FSA, it's important to remember that you're only going to get reimbursed, unlike with the healthcare FSA, you get reimbursed just the amount that you've contributed up to that point. So as an example, if you wish to contribute $300 per month, you will have a $3,600 plan year election. If on January 31st you incur a $500 expense, say that's your cost of care for the month of January, it's $500, and you've only contributed $300 at that point, you will get reimbursed $300. But if your claim was for $500, that additional $200 will be a pending claim, which will reimburse automatically to you after your next contribution is made. So after your next payroll. There are multiple claim filing options, so many ways to get your reimbursed, to get your funds back. You can use the mobile app, which is something you can have on your phone or your iPad, always have with you so that you can submit claims on the go and just snap a picture of your documentation. You can submit a claim online by scanning your document or submitting a PDF maybe you already have. You can also use the FSA Store cardless pay, which is a great option only offered by ASIFlex. You can sign into your ASIFlex account and shop the FSA Store, and you don't need to enter any credit or debit card information. ASIFlex will pay the FSA Store directly from your account. And you can also get a form from our website, asiflex.com, and submit it along with your documentation through fax or mail. The mobile app, as I mentioned, is my favorite way to submit claims. It is a free app. There's a video tutorial on asiflex.com, although most people find it very user-friendly and probably don't even need the tutorial. As you can see from the screenshots here, it's very clean, no ads, and very clean interface. You can use it on a smartphone or tablet and just take a picture of your documentation. Submit it on the go, and you can use it to check your balance anytime. If you prefer not to have the app or use the app to submit your claims, you can do so through any web browser by signing in to your account at asiflex.com. You select your own username and password when you set up your online account. You can submit your claims very securely this way. As mentioned, the FSA Store cardless pay is a great way, a good option if you're going to be shopping at FSA Store, where it's easy to find over-the-counter products that are FSA eligible because every single item on the website is FSA eligible, and you can pay for it directly from your account. It's real easy. Just sign into your account at asiflex.com, click on the FSA Store link to shop, select your products and add them to your cart, then proceed to checkout. You'll choose the ASIFlex payment option, and that's all you have to do. ASIFlex will pay the FSA Store from your account, and your products are then shipped to you. Now, documentation. We'll talk a little bit about what type of documentation is needed to submit your claim. In general, you're always going to need these 5 pieces of information on your documentation. So we are looking to see who it was for. The name of the patient should be on there, with a couple of exceptions. If you submit a cash register receipt for over-the-counter items, for example, you wouldn't have the patient name on there, but that's okay. Most other documentation will have patient name. What would be a brief description of the service or supply. Where, the name and address of the provider. When, the date of service or the date of sale for over-the-counter items. Regardless of when paid or billed, the date of service is the important date. And the dollar amount, how much you owe for that service or product. So if you are going to submit an expense that is covered by medical, dental, or vision insurance, the only type of documentation you would need to submit would be an explanation of benefits. After it's run through insurance, you get an EOB from your insurance provider. That works just fine as documentation. Or you can provide an itemized statement from your provider as well. If a service is not covered by insurance, then you can just use the itemized statement. For prescriptions, you can submit the pharmacy receipt or a printout from the pharmacy. or the itemized mail order receipt. For over-the-counter products, as I mentioned, the itemized merchant receipt or the cash register receipt is all that you would need. Please do not submit credit card receipts, paid on account or balance forward statements, canceled checks, or pre-treatment estimates, as these items, these documents don't have all 5 pieces of information that are needed, and you might end up having your claim denied and having to resubmit. For the dependent care FSA, the type of documentation that you need to submit is really similar. You'll need the same 5 pieces of information. Who, and that would be for whom the care is provided, your child's name or the family name. What, a description of the service, such as child care, after school care, preschool. Where, there would be name and address of the provider who provided the service. When, that would be the dates of care. Could just be month of January, so January 2023 or 2024. Or it could be a week if you pay your provider by the week. Those dates should be on there. And then the dollar amount, and that would be the dollar amount that corresponds with those dates of care. We always encourage participants to go green. It's good for the environment and it's good for you. And you can get your information faster. Sign up for email and text alerts to avoid paper and delayed mail. Sign up for reimbursements made directly to your bank account and avoid paper checks and delayed mail and trips to the bank. And submit your claims through the mobile app or online. It's easy, quick, and results in more rapid payment. At ASIFlex.com, there are many online resources you might want to use from the main website. Without even logging in, you can view the extensive eligible and ineligible expense listing. You can access the FSA store with thousands of eligible FSA products. You can read answers to frequently asked questions. You can use the expense estimator and tax savings calculator, view educational videos, and access IRS forms and publications. When you log in, you can access your personal FSA account details, review messages sent to you, manage your personal settings, submit claims, and shop FSA store using the cardless pay feature. Here are some important dates that we want you to remember as you're considering enrolling for next year. The plan year is calendar year, January 1st through December 31st. So only include services that will take place during those dates. Open enrollment happens from October 2nd through October 26th of this year. And the deadline to submit 2024 claims is March 31st of 2025. You have 90 days after the end of the plan year to get those claims in, but we encourage you not to wait until the last minute because you don't want to miss the deadline. We would love to hear from you with any questions you may have. If you don't get them answered during this presentation or you have anything else that comes up, we have a wonderful customer service team. When you call ASIFlex.com, you get to talk to ASIFlex.com is our website. When you call ASIFlex, you'll get to talk to a live representative and you don't have to jump through any phone menus or trees. 800-659-3035, that's our toll-free number. And there are representatives during our call center hours, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time. So 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central or Pacific Time, Monday through Friday, and 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturdays. You can also live chat with a representative by signing into your online account, or you can send us an email with a question you may have at asi@asiflex.com. Thank you so much. Now I'll be happy to answer any additional questions. I see you have been busy asking questions, and Carly and others have been busy answering questions.
Andy, I'm just going to go ahead and answer the question about if you're signed up for an HMO plan, could you still possibly get flex credits? And the answer to that is everybody gets a set amount of flex credits, and based on how they're used, if there's any that are left over from the flex credits based on your elections, then yes, it can go into an HRA. So it has to be a minimum of $5 and $120 a year in order for it to qualify. But if somebody is an employee only and chooses the HMO and maybe the dental HMO and the vision plan and nothing else, then they might have $10, $15 that would go into an HRA. So I hope that answers your question. If you have family coverage or employee plus one for an HMO, usually your flex credits are allocated towards that and you would not get an HRA at that time. Okay.
Thank you, Carly.
So we can go through some of the questions that came in while you were talking. Can you can you submit a claim even if you don't have the amount in your account?
Yes, you can always submit a claim, even if you don't have that amount in your account. A couple of things will happen depending upon which type of FSA you're asking about. So for the dependent care FSA, if you don't have that amount yet contributed to your account, the additional amount above and beyond what you have contributed will be kept as a pending claim, which will automatically pay out once you do contribute that amount. So that's for the dependent care FSA. But with the healthcare FSA or the HRA, when you submit a claim over the amount you've contributed, the full amount will pay out up to your annual election.
Great, thank you. And then another question came through that said, would there be an HSA carryover amount from last year to this year? So the question was answered. The answer is yes, but just to note that ASIFlex does not carry our health savings accounts. They're done through a different provider. So just wanted to make that clear as part of the answer to the question.
Mm-hmm.
So when signing up, you specify the dollar amount to contribute from each paycheck, and this amount cannot be modified.
Correct. You're specifying either the dollar amount you want from each paycheck or the annual amount, but that amount can't be changed during that year. Typically, there are some occasions where it can be changed, such as a family status change event, marriage, birth, divorce. Those types of family changes would allow you to make a change, but in general, you would not change that amount mid-year. You would have to wait until the next open enrollment to change your election.
Thank you. And then we answered the question, HRA is only co-payments. The HRA is only funded through flex credits. So I just want to make sure that that was clear. And I don't see any other questions that have come in. Does anybody else have any other questions? These are all great questions and good to review. Is this recorded? Yes, it is recorded. The final file will be posted on the benefits website in about early next week. So you will be able to review this again with all the other presentations for the benefit fairs.
That's a wonderful resource.
It answered a lot of great questions, so I'm glad we have it recorded.
Yes, and many of these questions are frequently asked questions. So if you take a look at our website and don't remember the answer to these questions, that's a quick way to get the answer to many frequently asked questions.
Are there any other questions that we might have missed or that you would like to have answered while we're here? give people a minute to type, because sometimes I know it's hard to rush through typing. All right, Andy, it doesn't look like there's any more questions that have come through. We want to thank you for your time and thank everyone for being here and listening to the presentation and asking wonderful questions. And we hope you all have a wonderful day. Again, this will be available to you if you want to listen to it again. It will be on our employee benefits website for you to review. But thank you so much for your time and your valuable information. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Take care.
You too. Have a great day, everyone.